Hey there, Riverside City College crew. Welcome to our School of Business and Law show. I'm Justin Hudson.
And I'm Ajené Wilcoxon. Our aim is to bring you discussions that resonate with your experiences and aspirations, featuring guests who make waves in our community. Today, we're thrilled to have my good friend, Brandon. Y'all, can I tell you, he rocks it as Director of Institutional Research here at Riverside City College. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, go ahead, Justin.
Brandon, you ready, man?
I'm ready.
Let's kick this off, man. So, Brandon, can you tell us a little bit of your journey, about your journey?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in Southern California. I grew up in San Diego, so the North County part of San Diego.
Wait, you grew up in San Diego?
San Diego.
Oh my gosh.
And I left that beautiful weather to come to the place where there's heat. It's the summer.
Talking trash.
But I grew up down there. My parents still live there. My sister still lives in San Diego as well. But I did meet my wife at the University of Redlands, so nearby here.
Yeah.
U of R. And her family lives in Riverside. So after going through some of my educational path, which included taking us up to Oregon State, Corvallis, Oregon, if anyone's familiar with that. Beautiful, beautiful summers and springs, and very wet falls and winters. So after that, when we decided we wanted to have our family, we wanted to come back down to Southern California. And that's where I got my first postgraduate school job at UC Santa Barbara, where, once again, amazing weather, lived on the beach.
Santa Barbara.
Right.
Yeah,
You've been very fortunate.
Right.
Let's go back.
Yeah.
San Diego, that's where you grew up. What high school did you go to?
Sure. I went to Rancho Bernardo High School. I played baseball there. For those that are really familiar with baseball, particularly maybe Southern California baseball, they're really well known, powerhouse down there. I played for Coach Blaylock, who was kind of like a Hall of Fame status high school baseball coach.
Yeah.
Got to play with several first-round draft picks.
Did you?
Yeah.
What position did you play?
So in high school, I played left field, and I played a little bit of center field.
Nice.
Yeah.
You had a strong arm.
Until I hurt my arm. So yeah, my senior year of high school baseball, I tore my labrum in my right arm diving. So that was a little bit of a recovery there.
Oh my goodness.
But
so,
it was fun.
Through high school, did you always have plans to go to college?
Yes, I did. So I'm fortunate to have two parents who both went to college. They both got master's degrees. So they both knew that that's the kind of the avenue that I was being pushed towards. But I definitely recognized the advantages that I had from that. So my wife is first generation college student, and some of the just knowledge about how you apply to college and some of the how you navigate that system, she doesn't have. So one of the fortunate things is I was able to graduate my undergraduate without any loans.
Wow.
But my wife has loans we're still paying off.
Yeah.
So it's a very different dichotomy there
I
of
understand
that
that.
knowledge. Yeah.
So in high school, you knew you were going to college.
Yeah, I did. And fortunate for me, I was able to pursue the degree that I wanted to. Since I was a kid, I always wanted to be a marine biologist.
Wow.
I got my master's in that. Quite far from the marine biology realm now, which you could probably talk about in a little bit. But yeah, it was something I always knew.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you have the mindset of trying to go pro, or did you want to use baseball as a tool to get to where you were trying to go?
Yeah, great point. So I feel as a kid, always wanted to go pro, very quickly realized that's not in the cards. I think I was from that standpoint, I was fortunate to play with and against so many players that were very, very high caliber players. I could tell the difference between a first round draft pick, someone who gets maybe in the 10th round, versus you're gonna play college ball, but that's probably your end of your limits.
Yeah.
I played with players who went D1 and things like that, and it's different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's very different. It doesn't take away any regrets from playing sports. I think that I learned a ton of lessons from it, especially I went to a D3 college, so it's not the most competitive sports-wise, but being a part of a team, learning how to also lead people is skills that you don't get to often learn until much later in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's something I was very fortunate to have those experiences, and I wouldn't trade them at all for anything, but I definitely did know at a younger age professional was not in the cards for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you said that you realized that this was an opportunity for you to learn leadership skills.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our students don't play sports here,
Mm-hmm.
so we try to encourage them to get involved with like ASRCC or student
Mm-hmm.
clubs, just for the reason of developing leadership skills. Do you think
Yes.
that's kind of equivalent to what you experienced?
Absolutely. I think that being in a club where you might not have a ton of members, you have the opportunity to take some of those leadership roles, especially if you've been in for a year. It's your second year. People have graduated. I would try to take that opportunity, because it is like being responsible for decision making or the direction of an organization is something you will have to do at some point in your career as you move along. And the more practice that you have doing that at a younger age, the more comfortable you can become learning how to do that. It's not easy. Like, I'm sure both of you know, that's a very, very hard skill to learn.
It is.
But it's something that's required if you want to keep moving forward with your career. So I encourage you to try to take advantage of
Y'all
that.
hear that? He's encouraging you. Both Justin and I are encouraging you to do that as well.
Absolutely.
So Brandon, tell us about your career path.
Sure, yeah. I always love telling my career path because it's something that is very non-linear. So I think growing up, I always felt like go to high school, go to college, get my graduate degree, and I'm going to be working in, as I mentioned before, marine biology. Like, that's always what I wanted. That's the avenue to get there. It definitely wasn't that.
Right.
So I got to graduate school. I got my degree. And growing up, marine biology, I think most kids or people think you go out on a boat, you
Right.
get, you touch all the fish and the animals, and you are doing kind of what we would call field research. Quickly learned that was not what I wanted to do, because field research means like camping out on the beach for months at a time. It means living on a boat for months at a time. It means staying away from your family months at a time.
Realize
So where
that.
did the idea of becoming a marine biologist come
Good
from?
question.
Yeah, great question. So as a kid, so I was in San Diego, went to SeaWorld quite often. The
okay.
Birch Aquarium down at UC San Diego, went a
Okay.
lot. And then I was always very interested in fishing. So that's something that I've been told. I never got to meet my grandpa on my dad's side of the family, but I've been told that's where that comes from. He was a really avid fisherman. So I think just that interest with fish, it's like, oh, I like this, so I want to do a job where I work with these animals all the time. Yeah, so
That's wonderful.
for as long as I've known. So it wasn't like I want to be an astronaut. It wasn't like I want to be a race car driver. It was always I wanted to be a marine biologist. So that's where that came from there. Yeah. So back to the career. So got to graduate school, finished, learned that I didn't want to do field research. And I got an advisor who was more into the quantitative side of things. So it's like the numbers side. Basically, what I learned how to do was create models to predict how many fish were in the wild.
Wow.
Something that maybe not most people would find interesting, but for me, it was like
Wow.
trying to answer this question of, I can't count it, but we have to figure out how to manage this stock of fish, or we won't have any more.
That's right.
And then embedding into those models climate change, different fishing practices, like all these other things. It was very, to me, very interesting. It was like solving a puzzle.
Yeah.
So that's
Very
where
complex puzzle.
very complex puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That somehow us humans feel like, yes, we can figure it out. I don't know why we think we can, but we do.
Yeah. So you got your bachelor's degree in
Biology.
biology.
Yeah.
And it went from doing field work to being an analyst, researcher.
Yeah, like more quantitative, researcher, yeah.
So, just curious, did you always have a passion for data?
For numbers.
For numbers.
Yeah, so I was always pretty good at math. Oddly enough, I guess not oddly enough. So I got through Calc BC, for those in high school, if this was still called. In high school, I was able to pass the AP test. So in my undergraduate studies, I took 0 math courses.
For real?
Yeah, for real.
You tested out.
Yeah, I tested out.
Wow.
But I have always been interested in numbers. I didn't want to go the full math route where you get to like theoretical math. Like that does not intrigue me, but the actual numbers part does. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you got your
Always been good.
bachelor's degree, and then you continued in your education and got a master's in.
Fishery science.
Say that again.
Fishery science, exactly.
Fishery
This is the reaction I get every single time I say that. They're
Fishery?
like, fisheries science, yeah.
Wow.
which everyone's like, what? Okay. That's the point where I'm like, I know I need to explain this a little bit more.
Yeah.
But what it is really doing those quantitative models to predict population dynamics, so populations of fish.
Wow.
So after doing that, that's where I got my job at UC Santa Barbara. My dad was the one who broke the news to me. So my first office, my career office, it overlooked the Channel Islands. Yeah, I spent a year and a half in that office. I saw whales migrating. I saw sea lions.
I am so jealous.
Dolphins. Yeah.
Wow.
And when I took a picture of that,
it's interesting to see how things panned out, because you said you would go to SeaWorld all the time. You got to see the whales there.
Yeah.
And then your career,
yeah,
you're overlooking the Channel Islands.
I know.
How can
It was very, very fortunate. Yes, very fortunate. And then my dad was like, "Yeah, that's the best office you're ever gonna have."
Oh, he was absolutely.
So what's your office like right now?
It overlooks a couple of cubicles. I work up here on the fourth floor of the library. For students.
Wait, back up.
Okay, yeah.
In the Channel Islands, what did you do?
So this is where I did a lot of the projects that involve population management of stocks. So we did a lot of work that was either global, so we're working with other entities, or we were working for specific fisheries. So I worked on a project that was in Cambodia. So they have a giant lake there called the Tomasap. Fishing is a huge part of their just like their economics, like that's how they live.
Okay.
But because it's a lake and there's a lot of pressure, fishing pressure, the fish stocks have suffered. So I was part of a group that was going there to do some help with that. Yeah, I got to present to the management there and some of their university students as well, which was a great experience. That was one of the huge benefits from my previous career, is getting to travel the world to present and work with individuals from different countries, which was very, very fun and interesting. Yeah, because a lot of times you get stuck in how the U.S. does things, and it's often different.
It's
other
often
places.
different.
Yeah.
And I mean, students, I know you all see this. He studied a group of fish, but what's the difference between a group of fish versus a group of people?
Right, that was the next transition, right? How am I going to get here? And my wife kind of helped show me that this was an opportunity. But the thing is a lot of the technical skills that I have translated. But one of the things that I've been able to develop and realize that I really love about the job that I have now is you can't talk to fish. You're making all these assumptions, and we harvest them and all that based off of something that you can't interact with.
Right.
With students, with us, individuals, our employees, we get to talk to each other. So when I'm thinking like, hey, this is what I think is happening, you can say, no, it's not. And then we can incorporate that into the research that we're doing. Like, you students, this is working, this isn't working. If we engage with you and you tell us what you need, we can then use that to try to figure out how to solve the issue. Instead of just, well, we think we know best for you, so this is what we're going to do. Like, we're trying to get away from that as we kind of move into this like next era of things.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so how long were you in that job, and how did you transition to education?
Yeah, 3 years. This is when like the whole linear thing, it was going linear. Like this is what I was doing. And then we're in Ventura, that's where we live, so a little bit south of Santa Barbara, because Santa Barbara, for those who've been there, it's very expensive. Very, very expensive.
Yes,
it's beautiful. Suggest you visit, but it's expensive.
Visit.
Right, exactly. Yeah. If you can live up there, kudos to you. Kudos to you. But so then at that point, this was when my wife and I were thinking about starting a family. Also, my wife has a younger brother who at that time was still in high school. And we quickly, after kind of visiting family back and forth every weekend, my wife was kind of like, I really want to be closer to a family. And so I realized that if I wanted to progress in that career, that meant getting a PhD. And for anyone who's interested in that, that means you got to go to the school where they offer the PhD. That combined with the job opportunities that I had in that career meant chasing those jobs. And that wasn't like there's 10 companies within Riverside or 10 companies in San Diego. It was there's one in San Diego, there's one in Monterey, and there was Santa Barbara. That was in
That was it.
California. In California, all of California. Like, it's not a lot. So that's when my wife and I, we were like, well, this probably isn't going to be the avenue. That's a pretty big sacrifice. And so she was already working at Ventura College, so another community college, and she put me in contact with the director of IR, or maybe it was the dean of IR there. And after a short conversation with him, I was like, yeah, a lot of the interests that I have in my current position, they translate. And then I ended up getting a part-time job at Norco College, so our sister college here. That turned full-time, and then after working there for a few years, an opportunity came at RCC, and I was fortunate enough to, the timing all aligned, and I got this position, and it gave me a lot more, as I mentioned before, like that leadership part that I developed from athletics kicked in right now. So that's a big reason why I think I was able to hit this job and kind of hit it relatively running fast, especially as a year after I got this position, COVID happened. Which required you to have a lot of autonomy and a lot of discipline to be able to continue doing work on a completely different modality. But I do think that prior learning experiences, whether it was athletics or educational, they were very helpful in that realm.
And I want to say that you may feel that it was a good opportunity for you, but the college is our institution is blessed by you being here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's awesome. Now, apart from professional hustle that you have, do you have any cool projects or gigs on campus that the students should know about?
Sure. I have a couple. So the first one I'll throw out is a true side gig, although it definitely benefits me here in the current role that I serve as the institutional research. But I do teach part-time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Throw it out.
Yeah, right. I teach one lab section of Biology 1. I've done it for a couple of years now. And for those of you who teach, I realize some of the challenges. Because a lot of the times when you're trying to I'm going to do this because I know that it's going to be impactful for the students, and then I do it and I'm like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. But I am able to now get a little bit better sense of some of the faculty, some of that interaction with students. As someone, my normal position isn't very student facing. I don't get to interact with a lot of students, but I want to make sure I keep in mind why I'm doing the job that I'm doing. So by being in the classroom, I get to interact with students a little bit more. I'm very fortunate to have that opportunity. And so that's kind of the main side gig that I do, but it does benefit me directly. Cool project-wise, I've been able to start one program, so the data coaching program. Students aren't directly involved in this, but I do want to speak to you when I say the reason why this program was started was because of students.
That's right.
It's taken from Santa Monica College, so I do want to give them kudos. That's kind of who gave me some of my own training as well as an outline of everything. But the purpose of it is I talk with faculty and other non-instructional employees fairly often about how can we improve student success. And student success might mean passing this course, it might mean graduating, it might be just developing skills that help you in your career. We at RCC for a century now have struggled with this being equal across different student groups, especially racially. And so one of the big pushes and one of the main reasons why I was hired is to have some of these, not tough, but conversations that have been kind of avoided for many years.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable. That's a good way of putting it. I've been able to do that with faculty, like these two right here. But there's a lot of times where it's these are two of hundreds of employees, and it's only one of me. So I can't have those one-on-one conversations all the time. But what I can do is each of you have relationships you've built up with other employees throughout the college.
That's right.
So what I can do is I can leverage you to have these conversations with your colleagues. But before I can do that, I need to help you understand some of these data and how to navigate these conversations. That's what our data coaching program is. So it's educated. I mean, Ajené, you participated in it. And now you can have and feel relatively comfortable having some of these conversations with some of your colleagues that would never happen before.
You're right.
And the whole reason why it's coming back to it is you as a student, how can we make sure that we're providing you the best opportunity to succeed? because we know that you can and will be successful if we provide that opportunity and space for you.
right.
So that's something that's really important to me. It's we're going on to our third cohort soon.
That's
So
beautiful.
yeah, excited about that. The other one that I would like to highlight is Equity Minded Learning Institute. So this is something I started with Ajené. We're kind of the co-starters, I guess. We're not founders because we didn't start it. Another shout out to Cuyamaca College. They're the ones who helped us there. And what this is it actually does involve students. There is a small student cohort as well. But we have provided or created and are still tweaking an institute that's a year-long professional development experience with the providing a space and an opportunity to bring in guest speakers and have conversations about topics that get a little bit deeper than the normal professional development does. So we provide a cohort kind of experience. So you're going to be working with the same people week after week. And the hope is to try to change some of the practices we do here on campus. We're still working on it, but if you want more information, reach out to me, reach out to Ajené. We have some amazing kind of ideas and projects that have come out of that.
You want to mention that we're doing students now too?
Oh yeah, I kind of briefly mentioned it before, but I do want to highlight it even more. We started our first student cohort of EMLI this past spring, and this is something we're going to continue doing moving forward. It's kind of a more condensed version. The first time we rolled this out, it was mostly for student workers, so you were actually paid to participate. It counted as some of your hours. It's something that we continue to hope to do in the future. And I encourage you to reach out for that. I know that Sharon Walker was the one who was kind of leading that for us, so that might be a good contact for you there. She's amazing and friendly if you haven't met with her before, so if you are interested, please reach out to her because she will be with open arms welcome you to try to join this cohort. It's something that we're really excited about because a lot of you already are student leaders, especially if you're going to be a peer mentor, you're going to be working with our students. And guess what? We want you to have the same knowledge and skills that we want our employees to have because really we consider you our employee as well.
That's right.
And we have high expectations for our employees,
Yes.
but we also want to provide you with the support so you can meet those expectations.
That's right.
We don't want to just throw you out there and say, oh, you didn't do it, you didn't do enough. No, we have to make sure that you're prepared for it as well.
That's right. Woo, good stuff, Brandon. Okay, now let's dive into some real talk. Who or what lights your fire and keeps you inspired?
I like how that rhyme.
Thank you.
This is an interesting question here because there's a lot that can light your fire or can keep you motivated depending on kind of the context of everything. For this one of the huge things is my son. So I have a son, he's almost 3 now.
Blessings.
Right, thank you, I appreciate that. And he's full-on toddlering right now, as I like to say. He's learning language so he can speak his mind.
Love it.
He's running around and he's finding his voice.
Love it.
Kind of like this is getting a little bit more on the personal side of things, but I know that growing up for me as not just an Asian American man, but I'm a Japanese American man. So my grandparents on both sides of my family were in the internment camps during World War II.
Wow.
The reason why I bring that up is I see culturally from that, I see the repercussions of it.
Yes.
So my parents, neither of them are very in touch with their Japanese side of their culture, as well as some of the, I wouldn't say it's like personal decisions, but the way that we as my whole family a lot of times try to shrink a little bit and kind of go along with the flow. It's like the term that I've been using lately is like people pleasing.
People pleasing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which for the flow of things can make it work. You personally could take a very big toll on you.
It can.
So now, flip back. I have a son now. He's not just Japanese American. He's also Hispanic and he's also white. But he's a true this generation type of kid. He's a mix of a whole bunch of things. But I do not want him to grow up seeing me perpetuating this cycle of people pleasing. To say that others' needs are more important than your own.
That's
your
right.
emotions aren't important.
That's right.
So I want to end that. So that's a huge way to light my fire to keep up with this work is
Yes.
part of also not people pleasing means that you stand up for your own values.
Absolutely.
Standing in your own power.
Yeah. And where we are with higher education is a time where you could allow your values to go to the side and keep doing the way that things have always been and stay relatively comfortable, feel relatively safe. Or you could see that your values are not aligning with the way that the system is set up and make a decision to try to challenge that in a way. So that's how that works right now. So like not seeing race, not seeing color is something that the system's set up to do. And the easiest thing is to go with that and be like, yeah, we treat everyone equally and everything's the same and we're all good.
Right.
Let's blame students instead of taking it upon ourselves.
Come on, Brandon.
Instead, now, I want to show my son, I want to show my family, I want to show, I guess, Japanese American men and boys that you can stand up for something and push up against something.
That's right.
Push up against the system. And to show that other people also value other people.
Oh, that's
It's not just,
so
it's
Brandon,
a little bit there. Yeah.
No, that's heavy. Students, you probably don't know this, but Riverside had Japanese internment camps where they rounded up Japanese individuals and put them in these camps here in our city. And it's something we should be aware of and acknowledge so that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I mean, to speak on that, so anyone know the Santa Anita racetracks? Yeah. So that's where my grandparents were initially rounded up and put into. Yeah, so they were in like horse stalls and things like that until they were put into Manzanar, which is where they were more like permanently placed. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow. Now, as we all know, college life can get stressful, hectic. How do you stay sane and keep the vibes flowing amidst, the chaos?
That's the secret sauce, right? I don't have it figured out, and I'll fully admit it to you. I mean, I don't know if we'll get to it, but there was one question that's talking about what's your one word that sums you up, and it's two.
What is it?
It's like continual improvement. Right? So it's something that I haven't figured out. I don't think anyone really has. If you think you figured it out, then life's gonna come in and kick a leg out from under you. But I knew I go to therapy. I try to take care of my mental health because I think
say that one more time.
Yeah. I go to therapy.
So do I.
Yeah. I've realized that physical health and mental health, they're all connected. They're just as important. So if you go to the gym because you want to make sure that your body is staying healthy, your heart's staying healthy, well, you should also try to make sure that your mental health is healthy there
that's
too.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I do that. I definitely am trying to, despite all the chaos and everything, take time for myself. This is part of that people pleasing thing is you can't be a good husband, you can't be a good dad, you can't be a good anything.
Spouse.
Friend or son or anything if you aren't in your own head feeling good about yourself.
Wow, that's right.
So I've been trying to prioritize that with not just like from like a feeling of selfishness, but just knowing if I want to be the best for others, I gotta be best for myself first.
Come on,
so
Brandon.
I've been trying to take some time for that, even when it's hard, and then it's also trying to. It's tough for me, but also be a little bit more open and vulnerable with some of the feelings that I'm having, especially with my wife, who is the safest person that I have in my life, so she can actually support me because that's one thing that I've noticed I've taken away from others is. Yeah, I want to support you as best as I can, but you want to try to support me? Oh, no way. Like, I'm not letting you do that. And I'm realizing that that's actually a really healthy thing. And when you get a chaotic life stage, I guess you could say, because it's always kind of changing, the people that love you want to help and support you the best way that they can. And it doesn't make you weak or it doesn't make you anything like that. It actually makes you stronger to be able to open up to someone like that and show them how you're really feeling or how you're hurting. And then to be able to accept the love that they're sending back is a really powerful thing to be able to do. And it's very healing. Yeah.
Oh, I love it, Brandon. Okay, so on that note, music is life. So if your life had a soundtrack, what would be the anthem with a song and why?
So I had to look this up because right now, to be honest, a lot of my song choices are dictated by my son. Oh. He's between 2 and 3, so he's young.
Yeah.
But one song that's you could say like more adult song or just it's not Wheels on the Bus and things like that, is Living Your Best Life by Ben Rector. It's something that, it's funny enough, as I was listening to it, it's a song that my wife had put together on a video of our son's first year of life. Oh. I didn't remember it that way, but she showed me it after. I was like, yeah, this is the song I'm choosing. This is the anthem of my life. But the reason why I choose this as my anthem is that in the song it talks about how you have some imagination or you have some fantasy of what your life is going to be, and it doesn't end up being like that. I think he says in the song, it's like you're waking up to a sunrise and it's like it's not anything like you thought it was gonna be, which is life.
It is life.
It's never what you pictured.
It's never. Agreed.
But with that happening, there's still so much great things that are going on in your life. Yes. So it also mentions, like, you know, sleeping and waking up next to your best friend. That's what I have.
Yes.
It means, you know, when you're living your best life is trying to do some of the like new things that you're doing and accepting it and understanding how amazing some things are. I don't want to discount that life can also suck sometimes, and it can be really challenging.
Yes,
but when I think about like my anthem, it's really, things are not the way that I thought it would be. There are challenges that I never thought I would ever experience.
Of course.
But there is a lot that I'm enjoying and taking from it, and I'm really grateful for that aspect of it. I have a lot of people in my life that love me very hard. I have a son that I love dearly, and I'm extremely satisfied with that. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop. Doesn't mean I don't want better. Right. But it is something that when I take a step back and think about it, I'm doing the very best that I can in life right now with what I have. And even though it's not perfect, when I take a step back, I can be satisfied with that.
Absolutely, we can. Beautiful.
Man, you got good energy, man. I appreciate that. So, do you have a song that you have on repeat?
Yeah, so this is where now we get into my son's song.
Oh, let's hear it.
Okay, it's my son's song. So I don't know how many of you know it. I think I might have mentioned it to you once. I don't know if you know about it, but so everyone knows Snoop Dogg, right? Do you know he has an affirmation song for kids?
No.
So that is the song that's on repeat.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am serious. So it's a kid's song, and it's talking about some affirmations, which for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's little sayings that you can say to yourself to almost remind you of how amazing you really are. It's something that my wife and I have done with our son. It's what we try to do with ourselves, but it's a little easier when you have a toddler who will actually like repeat you. It's harder to say it to yourself. But Snoop Dogg has an affirmation song. My son tries to sing the words. He'll listen to it a couple times and then ask for it again so he can try to sing along.
Oh, I love it.
And I just love that aspect of it.
So can you give us an example?
I know that I forget some of the actual lyrics, but I know it talks about him being strong. Like, I am strong. And it's
strong.
And it's saying it like, you know, that's just an affirmation. I am strong. You keep saying that. Yeah. But they throw a little bit of a beat to it,
I love it.
And it's just, yeah. And
I
so
am strong.
And so when I get to see my son say back, I am strong.
Oh.
It warms my heart because
that's powerful.
Yes.
That's 3 years old. That is powerful. I am strong. I love it. Okay, so we've already kind of talked about your not one word, but your two words.
Yes.
And why.
Yes.
So let's move on to the next one, which would be kind of summing this up.
Yeah.
Tell us where or what you love about what you do.
I'm gonna just jump back a little bit to the why of why continual improvement is so important to me.
Okay.
I've always wanted to be perfect at everything I do. Now I didn't play professional baseball, but I was good enough to play in college.
Right.
There's a lot of things that I would say that I'm very good at. It has gotten to the point though, or did get to the point where I would be very hesitant to try something new until I knew I was good at it. So like a good example is like golf. That's a thing that I'm into now because my father-in-law plays it, and
so you're playing
so
golf?
I'm playing golf, yeah.
Oh, well, then we can go play.
Right? Yeah, we will go play.
I would love that.
Let's go.
To start off with golf, though, even if you're the most athletic person in the world, like it's a very unique sport. And I was so hesitant to try because I knew I wouldn't be good at it, and I only do things I'm good at.
Understand.
And so getting out of that a little bit, understanding like, okay, I'm a product of continual improvement.
Yes.
I won't be perfect at it, but if I want to try to get better at something, I need to do it.
Yeah.
So in my personal life too, it's sharing emotions. It's coming onto this show and opening up to people I can't even see in front of these bright lights and these different cameras.
That's right.
Is that idea that this isn't a perfect interview. I'm not a perfect person. But I am a product of trying to continually to get better.
So would you say perfect doesn't exist?
Yeah, I would. Yes. What I can say is there's a perfect for every moment, but that perfect isn't what the society would say is perfect.
Right.
But I could be the perfect partner for my wife in the given moment that we're in. Doesn't make me perfect. I just did one thing the best way that we think that it should be. And it doesn't matter what you think.
That's right.
It's just the people that are in that room right
Woo.
there at the moment. Yeah.
That's good.
Should we end the interview right now?
We can.
So lastly, Brandon, what words of wisdom would you like to leave our students with here at Riverside City College?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this is also a great question because I want to go a couple avenues with this.
Okay.
While you're here at RCC, please reach out to the employees that are here. Now, you might not trust everyone, and I get that. I fully understand that. But please reach out to us because right now where we're at is a period of time that is finite. It's not forever.
That's right.
But we have an opportunity right now to make some serious change at our institution. These changes might not impact you directly, but it can impact future generations of students
That's
at
right.
RCC. If you're about to graduate, you might never come back to RCC again.
That's right.
But you have an experience here where you know, hey, if you guys did this differently, it would have made my life so much better here. And we want to know that.
That's right.
So that's one piece of advice that I have is please reach out to us. Let us know what's going on. We are trying to make changes here at our institution where we're listening to what our students say to us so that we can then make change. We don't want to just hear you just to hear you. We want to hear you to make change in the best way that we can. The other suggestion that I have is educational wise, like take these opportunities where you may have an opportunity to do an internship or to work for a lower wage while you're in school as an opportunity to really bolster a resume. That's something that I come from a research background, and one of the big things to get into grad school is have research experience. If you're able to get some research experience now while you're in school, it will help you in your career down the road. It's really hard. Like my wife had to do some of this where you do the research when you already have a career. So you're just adding on hours afterwards, or you do your research when you have a family and you're taking away time from that. It's just harder. Mm-hmm. So I would encourage you to take that as an opportunity. And then like the last thing, it's not really advice, but it is kudos. Like I admire every student that is here. I admire every student who is here busting their butts and then also working or also supporting their family, whether
That's
it's
right.
your kids or other family members, parents, siblings. I admire everybody that I see here on campus. It makes what I do worthwhile because I get to come to school, or not school, come to the campus, college, and see every single person that is coming to class. That's why I like actually being in the Bio 1 lab is being able to see students and help with that learning process, and also how much that I learned from each and every one of you.
That's beautiful. Thank you. You want to bring us home?
Brandon, thank you, sir. Thank you. Check us out next week. Thank you so much to our special guest, Brandon. And remember, like he said, reach out to the employees here. We're here to support you. We're here to help. And with that being said, we'll see you on the next one.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.